I'm Robert Kelly, and welcome to Record All Monsters, Monster Mailbag number 5. With me, as always, is my lovely wife and producer who will be taking us through this wonderland of listener correspondence.
Indeed.
Courtney.
Hi.
Hi, Courtney.
What's up?
Just hi. Hello.
Hello.
I've seen you today at home and
Indeed.
abroad.
Indeed.
And now we are home again.
Abroad.
Hey-o.
We don't go anywhere.
Or no. I'm just making jokes, because that's what I do. So, we of course have correspondence to speak of. And I think our first one is a Facebook message, Courtney?
Yes. Okay. It is from Phil, who says, I have a question. How is it that Godzilla is never seen on radar when he is swimming?
So that's a good question. I don't think it's addressed much in the Showa era, Godzilla being on radar at all, which is kind of my area of expertise. But in a lot of the Heisei films, I think radar plays a pretty big part in it. For sure, I'm thinking of Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah from 1991. They find out that Godzilla still exists after they thought they erased him from history because a nuclear sub finds him on radar.
Oh.
And then he eats said nuclear sub.
So maybe it just has to do with the technology of the time.
Maybe. But I would go so far as to say it probably has something to do with these movies being fictional. No.
What? Are you telling me there's not a giant lizard monster friend living in the ocean off the coast of Japan?
I mean, there may be, but there also probably isn't.
Bummer.
I know.
That was a good question, though.
That was a great question, Phil.
I can't answer it because I don't know enough about that. But I do like watching Godzilla swim. I think it's really fun. And if you look at videos of monitor lizards swimming, it looks so similar. And like, I know that Godzilla is probably part monitor lizard, but it's just really cool to see them, like how they took that from an actual creature and made it into this really cool character that we all know and love.
But one thing that's really interesting about Godzilla swimming, I don't think we see it until, like, we don't see him swimming underwater until Godzilla 2000. But we do see in 1957's The Giant Behemoth, which we talked about in episode 8 with Derek M. Cook of Monster Kid Radio. We do see that dinosaur monster, the Paleosaurus, swimming underwater and using its radioactive death ray wave as like a sonar device to navigate through the water. Anyway, thank you, Phil. You guys might know Phil better. I guested on his show, The Real Boys, a few weeks ago to talk about Godzilla vs. Kong. So, check that out.
Woo.
Alright, Courtney, what's next?
We have some questions from Oli. I'm very sorry if I said your name wrong.
I think...
Could be Ol.
I think it's Ol.
Ol.
Ol Merrill.
And it says, hello, just discovered your show. Is there a list of films that you plan to cover on it?
Yes. First of all, thanks for reaching out, having just found the show. Really appreciate that. And there is a list of films I have, we've already covered King Kong, the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, Gojira, and Godzilla King of the Monsters as one episode. Godzilla Raids Again, Rodan, Giant Claw, Varan the Unbelievable, the Giant Behemoth, Konga, Reptilicus, Gorgo, and Mothra. Coming up next week, we're going to have King Kong vs. Godzilla, and then Mothra vs. Godzilla 2 weeks after that. Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, 2 weeks after that. Frankenstein Conquers the World, 2 weeks after that. And then guess what? 2 weeks after that, another episode, Gamera.
And the rest is a surprise.
Kind of. This season is going to have 21 episodes.
Which answers another question.
Okay, what's the next question?
Which is, well, this is one of the questions, which is, will there be 21 episodes for each season?
As currently planned out, yes, we will have 21 episodes per season. They're not super secret. If you look at our website, we have a photo collage of the posters we'll be covering this season. Now, it's just parts of the posters where you can see the monsters included. But let that be your guide. And we'll release something like that at the start of Season 2, which will be begin promoing probably in October.
Another question, will you be talking about Daimajin, King Kong Escapes, and Space Amoeba?
So, Daimajin we are going to touch on near the end of this season. Those films have become increasingly hard to find, and I talk about that in one of the upcoming episodes. If I can find them, I will dedicate something more than what I have planned, which right now is just kind of a
quick look.
Yeah, just kind of a quick look. Just because they're so hard to find, I didn't have the time or the money to get them, and look deeply at those. But King Kong Escapes and Space Amoeba, aka Yogg, the monster from space, are both planned for Season 2.
Excellent. One more question. Will you be doing all of the Godzilla, Gamera, and King Kong films?
That's the plan.
Yeah.
That's the plan. We skipped Son of Kong because it's not... Like I said, this is a history show. Like, that's its primary lens. We look at things almost like a history textbook. And Son of Kong is a fun movie, but doesn't really warrant more than a mention because it does not influence the genre very much.
Yeah, maybe just a quick look.
Well, we talked about it briefly at the end
That's true,
of the original King Kong episode.
That's true.
And we touch on it again, kind of sadly, in the upcoming King Kong vs. Godzilla episode. But so we do plan on covering all the King Kong movies, all the Godzilla movies, all the Gamera movies. And I'm going to take the opportunity that we're talking about all the Gamera movies to just hint that there's some kind of a giveaway coming up, probably near the end of the season. And who knows, the prizes may be related to something like that. Anyway, what do we got next, Courtney?
From Stephen White. Hey, it's Stephen White, that guy from Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo, and also a recent contributor of Podcasters Assemble, also featuring you. So, I was trying to think of a good question to ask that you could get a good discussion out of, and I think I have one. If you were given the option to bring in another Toho Kaiju into the legendary Monsterverse, which one would you choose, and how would you approach their story in the new movie?
So, that's a great question, Stephen, and hi. I really enjoyed your contributions to Kongzillathon, and I had a lot of fun doing that too.
Yeah.
Thanks to you guys over at This Will Work Probably Podcast Network. I had a lot of fun doing that, and thanks for letting me play. letting me play in your sandbox. I may have left some toys over there, but you can keep them. It's okay. So, who would I bring from Toho's classic stable to the Monsterverse? Let me volley that question over to you, Courtney. Who would you bring?
Well, y'all know, if you've listened to this, that I love Anguirus, so I would love to see Godzilla and Anguirus being friends in this new Monsterverse. However, I think that they could get a pretty good story if they bring Hedorah back, because, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the oceans, and I feel like there's a lot of things that there's a lot that can be done with that, I feel like.
I think Hedorah is a great choice, Courtney. Like, honestly, that would be pretty incredible, like an update of that.
Yeah. And like, since she's legit scary, we've talked about this before. Yeah. But I think that they could also bring Anguirus into that one. But I think that it would be interesting to see what their interpretation would look like now. And if just kind of how they would update that for today, because it still seems like it could be very relevant.
It may be more relevant.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, Hedorah's a really good choice. And I'm going to back you up on that one. I think one is really practical to bring into the Monsterverse is probably Gigan.
Yeah.
One, there were those in Godzilla vs. Kong, when they were in the Hollow Earth, there were these kind of man-sized monsters that attacked them as they tried to escape. Mm-hmm. And they had beaks and like bat wings and were kind of yellowish gold. And I feel like you could get one of those real big and add some cybernetic... Excuse me, I'm not supposed to curse on this. I'm going to have to bleep myself out.
Cybernetic beep.
You can get some cybernetic stuff on it and have Gigan, and you already have Apex Cybernetics, even if they their CEO got exploded by Mechagodzilla. Spoilers for Godzilla vs. Kong, I guess. But I think Gigan would be a lot of fun, and I think there's a way in for it. Probably my heart's biggest desire to see them bring into the Monsterverse would be Biollante.
Yeah.
I think you don't even have to change that much to make it work. According to the novelization of Godzilla vs. Kong, which Courtney got for me, so thank you for that. Ren Serizawa survived getting electrocuted in the Kevin head. So, my guess is he would actually be a great person to be behind Biollante.
Yeah, definitely. Also, is it confirmed that he's Dr. Serizawa's son?
That was in the novelization, yeah.
Okay, because I figured this was like a whole, like, F you, Dad kind of thing.
What did you say to me when we thought, first decided he was probably his son? What did you say he said? You told me something. It was very funny. I just want to see if you remember.
I think it was some... Shoot, yeah, I can't remember.
You said, maybe Dad will love me if I become Godzilla.
Yes! Yeah.
And so, honestly, I think that's probably from the novelization. That's kind of is his motivation.
Really?
Yeah, it's not exact, but it's not dissimilar. He resents his dad for spending so much time researching Godzilla and, like,
like, understandable, but also, how come he didn't bring him? I feel like that would be the dream. Like, my dad works with giant monsters. Like, I feel like that would be such a good bonding experience for them. And he just is like, he just leaves them.
I guess so.
During all that time.
I guess so.
I still like Dr. Serizawa.
Well, I think trying to blend Godzilla with a rose and maybe even some of his father's genetic material.
Yeah.
Make Dr. Serizawa Biollante. Bring that full circle. I think that could be very good.
And then we can bring in Ken Watanabe again.
Bring him back. Put his Sears photograph up in the spores of the defeated Biollante.
Yeah.
Also, I think probably a really obvious one, and one I don't really support, but I can understand why people would be excited about it, is Destoroyah. Mm-hmm. Because they did use the oxygen destroyer. You can keep that same story, just that it has affected some sort of microbiotic microorganism crustacean to become this huge monster that doesn't need oxygen. I've always thought Destoroyah was a really cool idea and kind of a dumb execution. So I wouldn't mind seeing that redone. I think it's too soon if the MonsterVerse is going to continue to bring him back, though.
Yeah. Also, apparently on the internet, people think that this one lizard was like the new minion.
Oh, the goofy lizard eating the...
And I 1,000,000% agree with this and am on board for that.
The goofy lizard who eats a crab and has Godzilla-type spines on his back. I think that would be really interesting if young Godzillas were little quadrupeds, and then they slowly, get upright. It'd be really interesting. I don't know if it's just one guy in some of the Godzilla groups I'm part of on Facebook, or if it's multiple people, but I have seen him referred to as Doug. I don't know if Doug is going to happen, but it fits him. It fits in. But I like him better as Minya.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Robert Kelly, host of Record All Monsters, and this is an ad for Anchor. That's right, an ad for Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. I was super intimidated to start this podcast until I heard about Anchor, and there are a number of things that made me feel more at ease to begin. First of all, it's free. They have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. They distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on multiple platforms, including whatever one you're listening to. And you can make money from your podcast easily with no minimum listenership. All you do is enter your information, Anchor takes care of the rest. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. This is the mandatory call for action that I have to read out now, but it's true. You can download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. I've been Robert Kelly, host of Record All Monsters, and this has been an ad for Anchor.
Alright, Courtney, what we got next?
There is another question, and and maybe one more. If you could remake any classic monster movie today that wasn't Godzilla or King Kong, which one would it be, and what would you change to improve it outside of visual effects?
I saw this question this morning, and I thought about it, and then I forgot what I thought about.
I can do mine.
Go ahead, yeah.
Creature is my favorite, and I know that they're already gonna make a new one. But in my dream production, it would be written and directed by women because Millicent Patrick did not get the credit that she deserves for creating that wonderful suit. And you should read, just recommendation, The Lady from the Black Lagoon by Mallory O'Meara is a really good book that kind of goes into the history of that.
Do you have a writer and director in mind?
No, but since I feel like we could use a similar story with more... so it takes place in the Amazon. Mm-hmm. So how about like actually having people who are like from that area in the movie?
I like this idea, and you need to spin it out more.
Yes. Like, honestly, I wouldn't really change the story. I just think that there are a lot of good Latinx actresses who would be really good in this, and yeah, so that's my idea. I wouldn't super change anything, just because the Amazon is so gorgeous.
It's a beautiful setting.
It's like a place that when I was younger I always dreamed of visiting. Even though I'm allergic to like every plant, so it wouldn't probably be good for me, but like it just is such a wonderful setting, and with that great costume design that they wouldn't really have to change. They could even use that cue that Universal used for everything. Yeah, that they reuse in like 8 million jillion different movies.
On our letterbox, I've started a list called movies that feature the theme from Creature from the Black Lagoon, but are not Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking for any, but just as I come across them, I'm adding them.
I would highly recommend that this film be made, a 3D version of it be made, because I saw it in 3D at Alamo Drafthouse before it closed, and it was really, really cool because it's underwater, so it feels more immersive to me. Mm-hmm. Like, there are some times where it feels like Monster Chiller Horror Theater from SCTV, where they just like throw things up to the camera at random points. Like, it's not like that at all. So I feel like they could kind of bring back 3D, at least in that way, for that movie.
Yeah, that sounds really good. For me, I think there's a couple things I want to see. One, I'd like to see Frankenstein Conquers the World and War of the Gargantuas both remade. Beyond the effects updating, I think, one, keeping the cast, because in Frankenstein Conquers the World you have Nick Adams, and then he's replaced in War of the Gargantuas with Russ Hamblin. And they're given different names, but for all intents and purposes, they're the same character. And I'd like to see kind of that made following itself up. So that's probably of Giant Monsters what I'd like to see. Outside of Giant Monsters, I've always wanted to see The Abominable Dr. Phibes.
Oh.
Now, you're not going to get someone as good as Vincent Price.
Yeah, who did we think would be really good? I remember we were talking about this.
We talked about a few people, and I think Tom Hardy came up.
Tom Hardy.
Nicolas Cage came up.
Yeah.
I think he could really carry that sort of thing because he is an excellent actor, but he can also be a total ham, like Vincent Price.
He gets camp.
He understands it, and I'd like to see those two movies, The Abominable Dr. Phibes and Dr. Fives Rises Again.
It was Idris Elba.
Idris Elba, he would be very good.
That's who we said.
But I would like to see those two movies remade as one movie, because there's a lot of ideas I love in Dr. Fives Rises Again that it's not as good a movie as the first one. So I would just love to see you bring those ideas over into the story of the first one. And I think Idris Elba would be an excellent Dr. Fives. I think Nicolas Cage would be an excellent Dr. Fives.
Yeah, I think that both of them are really good at knowing what kind of movie they're in.
Yes.
And playing to that. Not every actor can do that, or the director won't let them.
Right. And I'd love to have the first Dr. Fives movie have that gorgeous ending of the second Dr. Fives movie.
Yeah.
That ending, it makes up for all the problems in Dr. Fives Rises Again.
Yeah.
This is a Giant Monster Movie podcast. You nerds.
There can be something,
me
Jen.
and Courtney are the nerds that I was reprimanding. I would also like to see... This is besides Godzilla and besides King Kong?
Yeah.
Gamera. I miss Gamera. I love me some Gamera. I thought Gamera the Brave was like the perfect platonic ideal of a Gamera movie.
That was the last one we watched, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was the last one they made. That was back in 2006.
Yeah. We're overdue.
We're way overdue for a Gamera movie, and I think...
The last one came out while I was in high school.
I just think if you keep that tone, that kind of like, very earnest, heartfelt, family-friendly.
Like funny, but also like heart.
There are real stakes to that movie. It's almost like an Amblin movie.
Yes.
There are real stakes. Kids are centered, but they're in real danger.
Yeah, kids are dealing with real things that are difficult, and there's also this mythical fun aspect to it as well.
It's a fantasy.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
I love that movie so much.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like it better than any of the Heisei trilogy. I know that is a controversial statement, but I love Gamera the Brave.
It was so good.
It's my favorite Gamera movie.
Yeah. I would love to see another one like that. Also, this is slightly off topic, but I would like to say that the book Kong and Me, there's a picture book that Legendary released. It's called Kong and Me by Kiki Thorpe, and illustrated by Nidhi Chinani. And it is really cute, and the rhyme scheme is great, except there's one that was kind of...
a couple things
there was one that was kind of weird, but it has the perfect amount of words for read aloud. This is where my children's librarian self is showing. But if you have any kids in your life, or you just like picture books, or you're just collecting things that have to do with Kong or Godzilla, it's a fun piece to add to your collection or to those kids in your lives. We really liked it.
It's very cute. That book actually turned Courtney from Team Godzilla to Team Kong before we went in.
It did, yeah, because I'm a sucker for kids being friends with monsters. We also got the board book. I don't know if we talked about this.
We got it for a friend of ours.
Yes.
For her son.
What was it called? Sometimes
Friends Fight,
yes.
But they always make up.
And it was really cute as
really
well.
Cute.
So if y'all have friends who are having kids,
or if you are a friend having kids,
or yes, if you have kids, or if you are like us and have nieces and nephews, that are little. It's really cute,
It's a really
and
cute one.
it's not like a stretch like some board books are. Like, you're like, how come there are so many words?
It's
in
really
this?
simple.
It's for a baby, like.
It says sentence,
and then you count.
and then you count. It's a counting book.
It's a counting book. It's really cute, and
You're really cute.
oh, thank you.
We're
So
married,
are you.
so it's okay.
Yeah. So if I just wanted to throw that in there as like an aside. What did you think of the novelization?
I really liked all of the MonsterVerse novelizations.
Mm-hmm.
This one I feel like gave the most
Like
background of all of them.
That's good.
But yeah, they're all fun. They're all good expansions on the movies.
Yeah. We're still waiting on that art book.
Art book, it's supposed to release in May now.
Gotcha. Well, I pre-ordered King of Monsters art book and then it sold out, so...
Amazon did that to me with the complete gamer box set from Arrow Video.
Yeah.
We had to order the two halvesies ones.
But it worked out.
It did. See, 'cause I mostly just wanted the movies. I didn't care that much about like the Dark Horse comic and stuff. All cool stuff, but really, I just wanted the movies. So I'm okay with that.
Other sort of similar things. You just read the Ultraman comic series.
Yes, Rise of Ultraman from Marvel Comics. Very good, very nice, fun take on the original Ultraman series. If you are familiar with it, it reintroduces these characters in a new context. If you're not familiar with it, it's fun, and you're actually kind of not burdened by the Easter eggs. It's a lot of fun. Trials of Ultraman, I need to get issue 2 of Trials of Ultraman.
Yeah.
I really loved the first issue of that, and I'm looking forward to see what Marvel does with Ultraman.
Yeah. We have a really great comic shop town over from us.
Shout out to Comic Relief.
Yes, they're great. They're not judgy at all.
No.
It's a small place, and you can still stay in there for like an hour, just looking at things.
Pack it with titles.
Yeah.
And also great collectibles. We're not being paid by them, but if they want to pay us, they can.
No. We do this. We would do that for free.
We would recommend them for free because they're very good.
Yes.
Not that you are here, probably.
Yeah.
I wanted... Courtney, can you hand me that folder there?
Yeah.
Last week, I gave a shout-out to all the countries that are listening to us. We're being listened to in 14 countries according to my metrics.
So cool.
Include France, Italy, Vietnam, the Republic of Lithuania, Australia, Ecuador, Japan, Sweden, Germany, the UK, Ireland, Argentina, Canada, and the United States. And here in the United States, we're actually being listened to in 34 states and 1 territory.
Ooh.
And I'm going to shout them all out right now.
Yay!
We're being listened to in Texas, Virginia, Ohio, Florida, Michigan, California, New York, North Carolina, Washington, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Wisconsin, Tennessee, Georgia, Illinois, Maryland, Arizona, New Hampshire, Washington, D.C., West Virginia, Nebraska, Connecticut, Oklahoma, Colorado, Oregon, Kentucky, Maine, South Carolina, Minnesota, Indiana, Missouri, Massachusetts, Arkansas, Utah, and Kansas.
And we only have family in a few of those states.
Actually, yeah, we just actually don't see one of them there. Yeah. So, thank you all, everyone who's listening. We really appreciate it. Spread the word.
Yes.
Tell your friends. Next week, we're going to have our monkey movie correspondent, Nathaniel Rossmith, returning to talk with us about the original King Kong vs. Godzilla. But joining him will be a new guest, a good friend of ours, who has a background. He's been a theatrical director and actor. And is extremely film literate.
Indeed.
His name is John, and he will be here to talk with me and Courtney and Nathaniel about...
He was in our wedding.
He was in our wedding. About King Kong versus Godzilla. And we had a technical snafu on that episode. So only one of the mics we had wound up working. And it picked up everything pretty good, but there are parts where, me or Courtney will fade out. It was Nathaniel's mic that kept working. But
it turned out
it's listenable, and I'm sorry for the drop in quality from most of our episodes. I know our quality's been all over the place since we started, but we're learning. We're learning. It's a new podcast. But we love you. And then the week after that, we'll be getting into something. Oh, I'm hoping to have a discussion on Godzilla vs. Kong Ready at that point with some of our friends.
Yeah.
Not promising you anything, because that's not my style. But hopefully there'll be some kind of quick look or something or other about that.
Yeah.
And then the week after that, John and Austin will be returning together, most likely, for a look at Mothra vs. Godzilla. And that's everything I have to say to you. Oh, if you are listening to this on its launch day, on Friday, April 23rd, it is your last chance to vote for us for a rondo.
Thank you to anyone who
has. Thank you if you have already. Really appreciate it. If you haven't and feel like you want to, I won't say feel like we deserve it, but if you feel like we deserve it, vote for us in the rondos. Copy, paste the ballot from rondoaward.com into an email to taraco@aol.com. That's
you would misspell it.
TARACO @aol.com. Vote for Record All Monsters in Best Multimedia Website, and vote for it's a write-in category, but our friend from Monster Kid Radio, Derek M. Cook, I really think he deserves Monster Kid of the Year. He's been doing such great work with his Monster Kid Movie Club on Saturdays, the Monster Kid Astronomy Club on Tuesdays, and of course every week, like clockwork, Monster Kid Radio.
Mm-hmm. He's also been very helpful to Robert starting this up. And
he really has. He gave me a platform kind of to launch off of by letting me guest on his show. I'm always grateful to Derek, and I think we're very playful with each other when we talk. But he's a great guy, and I've got nothing but the highest respect for him. Derek, if you're listening, you really deserve it, and you're Monster Kid of the Year already in my book.
Yeah.
Not to get openly sappy or weepy or anything. Vote for us in multimedia. And write in Derek for Monster Kid of the Year.
One last sidebar.
Yes.
What do you think of the anime?
I'm very excited for Godzilla Singular Point.
Yeah.
It looks like so much fun. I know the crazy old guy is the one driving Jet Jaguar, and I love the Jet Jaguar. It's like a wonky built junkyard robot. It's perfect. I love the Jet Jaguar. The weirder they can make it, the better. Okay, that's it. This is going on for 40 minutes now.
Hey, that's okay.
It's the length of a full-on episode.
Hey, that's totally fine.
So, we're going to tell you so long, farewell, do the same.
No.
Good night, and remember that monsters are